Chainsaw Man Reze movie is here, and it was pretty hype. So today I've been inspired to make a bomb devil build. But of course, before we get into it, there is a spoiler warning for the anime and manga. So just remember that before anyone gets mad. Alright, first off, we had to create the character. So here she is. She doesn't seem so bad. I'd say she's quite accurate. And you can see she's got the green eyes and the red anime cheeks. And with that out of the way, we had to get her some clothes. Now, Reze's clothes are quite basic. She has this white shirt and some shorts. So starting off with the shorts, I wanted the Elden Lord Greaves. Also, you may be wondering why I started this off by farming, but we'll get back to that later. Luckily, the Elden Lord Greaves can be bought from Enya after killing Hoaraloo. And since I had already completed the game on this save, I could head straight over and buy them. So that's the first half of the outfit complete. I know to some people this may look a bit dodgy, but Elden Ring isn't the best for casual clothes. Next up, I needed to get myself something close to the shirt that she wears. And for this, the best thing I could find was the altered version of the high page clothes, which meant I was headed over to Raya Lucaria to farm this mob until he dropped the clothes I wanted. And this did take quite a long time. I actually ended up gaining a couple of levels from this, which is wild because these mobs don't drop many runes. So there's an idea of how long I spent doing this. But now we had the look complete. So now we're onto the weapons and abilities. And for all of these, we needed explosions, which meant the first weapon I was going for was the Fire Spark perfume bottles, because these create explosions at the end of each hit. And in order to do that, I needed to go to the DLC, which meant killing Moog after many tries, and then riding all the way over to this camp where I could kill the perfumers and steal the weapon from the chest. Then after that, it was time for even more explosions with the Bastard Star's Ash of War. And to get this weapon, I needed Astel's Remembrance. And this meant getting pretty far in Rani's quest. So I did some talking, then had to kill Radahn, then I needed to get the Finger Slayer blade to hand into Rani, which meant making my way past this Mimic tier. And yes, I did enter the fight with nothing to make this fight extremely easy, because I was finding out that the Fire Spark perfume bottles are actually quite weak. But after handing in the Finger Slayer blade to Rani, I could go over to the teleporter, make my way into Noxtella, then into the Lake of Rot, and I was finally at the Grand Cloister to fight Astel. Now, I did start this fight with the Fire Spark perfume bottles, but as you can see here, I was doing little to no damage. And so I kept dying to Astel for a while. But hope wasn't lost because I ended up resorting to my earlier weapon that I was using for farming. And from here, the fight became so much easier. And I went on to kill Astel immediately after this change. So with that, it was time to hand in the Remembrance and buy the weapon. Then after trying the Ash of War, I was starting to see this build come together. Next up, I decided that it was time to introduce some range to the build, because the Bomb Devil does have projectile explosions. So I headed over to the mountaintops of the Giants in order to get myself the One-Eyed Shield, which meant raiding this camp and killing their leader. So now I had claimed the shield for myself. So then I gave it a quick damage test over here, and it was safe to say that this weapon was quite powerful. But sadly, things weren't going to stay this smooth for very long, because for the rest of this build, I needed spells and incantations. Therefore, I decided it was best to get myself the Staff of the Great Beyond. So first up, we had to kill R'Larna. Then after that, a bit of talking with this guy, then activating a couple of finger things, and now the throne in the church had moved, and I could make my way down the ladder, kill the invader, and get ready for the Mother of Fingers fight. Now, so far, things hadn't gone too badly. We had the usual amount of deaths at R'Larna, but the second I entered the fight, this happened. Now, I've got no idea what's going on here. My controls were inverted. As you can see, the visuals on the gameplay are just crazy, and so it took me a very long time to beat this fight. But in the end, I did end up killing her after many hours. So I traded in the Remembrance, got myself the staff, and was ready to start collecting the rest of the abilities for the build. So first up on the spells list, it was time to get Rykard's Rancor, which is a chain of explosions that would fit the Bomb Devil well. And for this, I had to make my way through the Volcano Manor, beat the Godskin Noble protecting the area, and work my way into the Rykard fight. Now, this fight actually wasn't too bad because I didn't have a damage problem here, since the weapon I needed was already provided to me. And so after beating Rykard, we handed in the Remembrance to get the spell. Then after doing a damage test, it was seeming quite powerful. But I wasn't done yet because our next incantation was going to be Law of Causality. But as you can see here, it wasn't difficult to obtain at all, because at this point in the game, all I needed to do was buy it from the Twin Maiden Husks. So now you can see the incantation in action, and I was quite excited to have an ability like this. But sadly, the next ability I was going for wasn't so easy to obtain, because I wanted Messmer's Orb, and that meant progressing further into the DLC, making my way for a couple of puzzles, then eventually getting to Messmer's room. And I did die quite a lot here, but after a couple more hours of attempting the boss fight, I finally killed him. And so after trading in the Remembrance, I had the incantation I wanted. But as you can see here, I didn't have enough faith to use this ability yet, and that brings me back to why I I was farming at the start of the video, because I was actually trying to prepare my stats ready for this build. So I was back to farming again for a while until I finally had the points I needed to use the orb. But now that I had the stat requirement, it was time to test it out on this random Leyendale Knight. And it's safe to say that this was worth it, not only for the damage but also for the variety in the build. Then after that, I was off to get some more self-destruction incantations. Therefore, next up was the Wrath of Gold, and this one's pretty easy to obtain. All I needed to do was open this chest in the Woodfolk ruins, and so now we had the move. I'm not entirely sure how useful this is going to be, but it's good to have options. And so with that out of the way, it was time to get the most difficult incantation out of all of them, Baal's Tyranny. This was going to be our best self-destruct move. So I made my way through the jagged peak, past quite a number of dragons, and after a lot of horse riding, I was at the boss arena. So all I had to do was kill Baal, and sadly I didn't do much damage to this guy. Therefore it took hours and hours of multiple attempts at the boss until I had finally got my lucky run and killed him. Then after that, it was time to exchange his heart for Baal's Tyranny. And it was here that I realized my farming days weren't over yet, because I currently had 10 arcane and this incantation required 49 arcane. Therefore it was time to go back to the usual spot once more for the final bit of farming. And after rinse and repeating this for a while, I was finally at 49 arcane and I had over 200 levels. So it was time to find out if this was actually worth it or not, and the damage was quite underwhelming. But I'm hoping that this will prove to be more useful when I'm in a real fight. And there was no time to mope around about this and be sad, because I needed my last ability before the build was complete. And now this one's not insane, but I decided to go ahead with Rolling Magma. And luckily this was pretty easy to get. All I needed to do was go to this shack, pick it up, and I could now use it. Then I went to damage test it over at this random camp, and you can see this kind of acts like a landmine, that once it finishes charging, it becomes a very powerful explosion. So now that I'd finally collected everything for the build, it was time to go into New Game Plus and give this a real test. Okay, we are finally in and ready to fight. This has been the longest I've had to wait before fully testing out an anime build, but we're ready. The boss is here. Let's see how much damage we're doing. Oh, that's not looking great. Even with the Perfume Arts Talisman on, I'm doing no damage. So it's looking like this weapon's not all that. However, I guess the main part of this build isn't really this weapon. Hold on, just gotta avoid this. Run through with a couple of these, sprinkle them along. Yeah, nah, this sucks. Weapon swap. Let's do it. After he's done with this, we're trying out the Ash of War. Go. Oh, 600 damage, and now we've got explosions on him. That was nice. What about if I now swap to the shield and use the Ash of War while he's at range? Fire! Oh, damn. Oh, okay. Looks like I have a lot of end lag after that move. And I'm now realizing I should have put on the Law of Causality. But anyway, I'm going to cast a Rolling Magma and see what happens. Okay, he let it hit him. So our plan didn't really work out that great. But how about, because it wasn't looking too good before, it's time to give it another chance and use Baal's Tyranny. Go! How much damage can we get with this? 1,800. Okay, that move is looking a lot better than when I first tested it out. And we've still got a repertoire of moves to test on Margit. Okay, we're pulling up and we're ready. I think I'm going to refuse to use the Perfume Arts because they just seem downright horrible. However, the Ash of War on this weapon seems really good. So after he does this move, we'll charge up one of these and get like a free 1,000 damage. And that was worth taking the hit because we got 1,500 damage in return. Now, can we get enough room to use a Rolling Magma? It's really looking like he doesn't want to let me. So instead we'll use a Rykard's Rancor. And the main thing about this is we now have to stay in range of the spell while fighting him. So if I pop another one here, then a flask, and now I just got to make him fight me in the lava. And with our last bit of FP, I'm going to use Law of Causality. And I think this should work even for projectiles. And I'm forgetting one of our big moves. Just after he finishes this, go up into the air, Mesmer's Orb. Let's try it. A fully charged Mesmer's Orb on this guy. Oh, he stopped me. Okay, let's try it again. It's okay if we get hit because we have the Law of Causality. 1,600 damage, and I've been slammed by that hammer. It's looking like to get a lot of these moves off, I have to take a hit, and especially so for Law of Causality. Oh, there we go. It's working. Only 200 damage, and I am burning through my flasks very fast with this. So I think now we use a Rolling Magma. Oh, he let himself get hit by it at the last second. Are you joking? All right, looking like we're gonna have to go just with normal hits now. We have no more FP left, so we just gotta dodge these a couple times over. Heavy attack. All right, yeah, this is wraps. Even without our Ash of Wars and incantations, we still do a lot of damage at this stage of the game. So just a couple more light hits. You know, 500 damage at level 200 really doesn't seem that great. It looks like we're going spells heavy on this build. After that fight, I decided I was going to swap my flasks over so we could be a bit more FP heavy on the build. Okay, the flasks are swapped. And one thing I'm noticing about this build, I need to be at range for almost everything I do. So as we progress through the game, this is going to get even more difficult, since a lot of the bosses are quite nimble and will stick with me. But for now, I'm enjoying going against these slower bosses at the start of the game. Oh, I do need to watch out for that though. Okay, while he's busy throwing off some ranged attacks at me, it's time to pop myself a Law of Causality. And then next up, I want to use Bell's Tyranny. So I just need to wait for our next opportunity. Oh, this is not a good opportunity. Oh God, please. Calm down. All right, now this is our chance. Bell's Tyranny, go. Charged up. Okay, we did take a lot of damage in order to use that move. And that's another thing I'm noticing about the build, is it really seems like in order to utilize this build, I have to wait for a lot of end lag on these moves. Here's another chance, Rykard's Rancor, then another one. I feel like abusing this move might be my best option. Let's just get a couple of normal hits in, and it's showtime again. Okay, this is a very big opportunity to do a fully charged Mesmer's Orb on this guy. How much damage can we get? 1,300. And as I did that, I just realized that maybe I should have used my chance on a move that didn't do fire damage, because this guy probably has some sort of immunity to fire damage. Oh, please, please, please. Once he lands, I'm using a self-destruct on this guy. Go, Wrath of Gold, 500 damage. Now, I can understand why that is, because one, this incantation isn't amazing, and two, I don't... Oh, okay, hold on. I got a lock in here. And two, I don't have any talismans that increase... Oh, not again, bro. That increase my holy damage. All right, I've decided our best course of action here for a move that Godric won't be all that resistant to is my Ash of War. Nebula, go. That's big damage. That's big damage. Now we wait for our chance again. This is how we're going to finish off the fight, is with a Nebula. More of those. Oh, that's a big hit. And then we pop one more to kill him. Never mind, the previous one took him out. But before we continue, I've discovered a flaw in the build. And that flaw was my FP consumption. Because in this build, I didn't have much mines. So to fix that, we're heading over to the Minor Erdtree and Mount Gelmir to get the Cerulean Hidden Tear. And for this, all we had to do was kill this ulcerated tree spirit. So then we had half of our Wondrous Physic. Next up, I decided to get the Intelligence Not Crystal Tear, so I could spam a boosted Rykard's Rancor at the start of every combat. So for this, I needed to do a bit of parkour, then kill these guys and collect the Intelligence Not Crystal Tear. Okay, we have our Wondrous Physic put together. I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to use it that well in this fight, but we're going to try it. Okay, let's head in, and immediately I'm just spamming Rykard's Rancors. How many of these am I going to be able to get off before I get punished for this? Oh, I didn't get to dodge in time. He's really delaying me. How many more can I get off? Okay, I'm low. I need to forget about that. I don't know how much more time I'm going to have with this unlimited use. Okay, it seems like we've got a decent bit of time. Oh, never mind. It's ran out. But I do still have an intelligence boost. So I still have my enhanced spells. And I am also finding out that this definitely wasn't the fight to try this tactic. If anything, this seems like a Law of Causality fight. And then once we dodge these, I'm using a Mesmer's Orb. Let's try it. How much damage can we get? Oh, we killed him with just 800. Nice. And I almost have enough runes to get 1 level. But now we've got Moongrum. And I still have my Law of Causality on from earlier, which is great. So I'm going to start off with a Mesmer's Orb. There's no way he just hit me out of the sky. Are you joking? All right, now we're using a Mesmer's Orb. Then I think the One-Eye Shield's going to be a good shout. So we use that straight in his face. I'm going to use more. We're just going to wait for him to get close and try and start an attack. And then we fire one out. What else can we do with this guy? Probably a Bell's Tyranny is good. If I just manage to dodge this attack and then we get it off, how much damage is that? That's quite a good bit. And then we just make him kill himself by running into the fire sparks. I know you want to get hit by these perfumes. All right, nice. Moving on. See, I don't really mind how much FP I use up here, because Renala is going to be a hard counter against this build, since she has a lot of resistance against magic and also against fire because of the arena for her second phase. Therefore, we're going to be at a massive disadvantage for this fight coming up. However, I believe in us still winning this. Just got to get past this phase first. All right, hopefully this will be the last time I have to knock her down. We'll just wait for the stamina to come up. All right, go for it. Go for it. Please. Can I get her? No, I can't. Okay, one more of those. I swear to God, the girls in this fight of Renala's arena are master rage baiters, because they don't do much damage, but they just inconvenience you enough to just really annoy you and get under your skin. And here we go. She's coming down. We got her. We're on to the next phase. All right, so she is going to open out of a Comet Azure, and then straight away, I'm just going to start spamming my tactic, and I've used the wrong spell immediately. And I've taken so much damage. Why can't I spam spells out? Okay, so the first tactic really did not work out well. She is just spamming spells before I can. Therefore, we need something different for this. Rolling Magma seems to do a good bit of damage. Or maybe it's better to use Flame Spit. Okay, let's try Flame Spit now. While she's stationary. I hit her and it did a good bit of damage. 700 there. That's not bad. Now as she's busy making summons, we fire another one. Oh, it just killed the summons. They worked as a very good shield for her. But this tactic seems to be pretty useful. If I just fire off another one. Okay, the Bloodhound Knight is getting in the way. All right, what about a Flame Spit now? Okay, we just have to be very smart about when I use Flame Spit. Like now is probably a good chance. Well, there's no summons out and she was busy casting a spell. Okay, but we're going to weapons now. This is just what we're going to have to do because spells really aren't working out all that well. But if we keep using the heavy attacks, this should stop her from being able to do anything. I said that as she got super armor on her spell. What about a Flame Spit now? Go! Hit her out the sky! Oh, I missed it. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just run to the side and avoid the Comet Azure. This is a perfect chance to get off a Flame Spit though. She was busy casting that. Can we get out another? Past the Bloodhound Knight? Please! Oh! How did that not hit her? And I'm on 1 HP now. So I will just have to end this with some normal attacks. Have that. That was probably the closest Renala fight I've ever had. But I'm glad we've got that one out of the way because the future bosses won't have that much of a resistance against magic. After using my runes to put one level in mind, I was off to the capital. Okay, so after that fight against Renala, I've done a bit of research on the resistances of the boss coming up. And because he's stronger against Holy, I'm going to avoid using Law of Causality and Wrath of Gold. But sadly, I don't have any lightning spells, so let's do this. All right, we're going to start this off by luring him over to this side of the room, then running to the opposite side of the room from him. We're going to have to use a flask here because he did manage to get me a little low. Wondrous Physicking up, and we do Rykard's Rancor. While he's walking at me, we're just going to send off as many of these as possible, and then some more. He's still pretty far away, and my flask's effects have worn off, but we still have the intelligence boost. I'm just going to use even more Rancors against him. How do you feel about that? Taste the pain of Rykard. I can't remember if Rykard's actually a child of this guy or not, so we could be using his son's own spell against him, but I'm very happy to do it. However, he hasn't taken all that much damage, so it looks like we're gonna have to fight him normally here. And even though I only do 400 damage, it's not a bad chunk of this guy's health, so I can just attack him with my normal weapon, even though this thing doesn't really do all that much damage. And once he uses a big move, I'm gonna try to use my Ash of War again. And I think it's now. Ash of War, go! 600 damage, and now we get the explosions on top. Godfrey, you are not looking sharp, my friend. It's looking like it's over for you. Yeah, you've only got 1 HP, so it's wraps. There we go. And now we're on to Morgoth. Luckily, that fight with Godfrey managed to get me an extra level too. So that's an added bonus for this fight. Okay, we're doing this. The resistances for this one are kind of like Godfrey's, except there's nothing that we have that Morgoth's weak to. So I'm just going to have to try and keep my distance and fire out as many of these as possible to win this. I really don't know how well this is going to go. We've managed to force him to do this. Okay, that's something. Luckily, he seems to be just walking at me a lot. So if I just really do keep up the distance, then we might be chilling here. Oh, hold on, hold on. He's managed to close the gap here. So far, quite happy with no hit. Oh, okay. I just spoke way too soon. Let's just keep these up. This is my only chance. Oh, that's big. Maybe I can walk up and get a Bale's Tyranny so he can walk into it. Nope, I missed. But this is still good. We're doing okay here. We've gotten halfway through our FP with many flasks left, and he's at half health. So I'm just going to send out more of these. We're going to keep spamming. Oh, he dashed through between the smoke screen, but I was ready for it. We're keeping this up. That's all we can do. No way I let myself get hit there. That's fine because we have lots of leeway. That's another FP flask down, and we just need to be very careful again. Oh, he's going to avoid the entire Rancor because of that. But we're still doing good. However, if he keeps avoiding all of my spells, then we are in for trouble. Please. Oh my god. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I need to figure out a new tactic here because obviously the Rancors aren't working anymore. It's looking like we're going to have to resort to Flame Spits here. And now this is going to be very risky because of the end lag on this move, but it's all we can do. We managed to get a lot of damage with that though. So if I just keep my distance up even more. All right, here we go. We just prime ourselves nice and ready. The second he gets closer, we fire. And we're firming it. All right, fire, go. We took a lot of damage for that, but it was worth it. I don't know how many more Flame Spits we have left before we run out of FP. But the good thing is, even if Morgoth tries to dodge the Flame Spits, the blast radius is so large that we still hit him. I'm playing with like proper cheese right now, but it just has to be done. Oh, no. I still had a lot of end lag, so I got hit there. Can I avoid this? I've never played the game like this, so this is a learning experience. But this is a perfect opportunity to get out of Flame Spit now. Oh, he actually dodged it that time. I wasn't far enough away for the curve of the Flame Spit to hit him. And I think because we missed that, I will have to finish this fight with a melee attack. But for now, I just need to get the correct distance and then we get a Flame Spit off. See, he's getting ready to dodge. But watch what happens when he does. We still hit him with the radius, with the blast radius. And I think because he's so low, we're going to try and let the Perfume Art shine here. I've been neglecting it all run. And since it was our first weapon, we might as well try and finish the fight with it. Please go. Oh My Jesus. I don't get nervous, but I'm feeling a bit shaky right now. However, the fight's done. And next up, we had the Fire Giant and Godskin duo fights. So in true Quince fashion, I didn't talk through the fights and died quite a lot of times before I could beat them. So now we are on to Malekith. Okay, I'm excited for this one because normally I have problems against the Beast Clergyman. But since I'll be fighting at range, I don't think I'm going to have that issue anymore. And even better, this guy is weak against fire. I think Bale's Tyranny was a fire move. Oh, and Mesmer's Orb. I don't know how I could forget that. So we just got to get close enough. Oh, I already hate this guy. I'm already starting to hate this fight. But anyway, I just got to get close enough to use a Mesmer's Orb without being punished. Luckily, he managed to... You're joking, right? I don't think I can get out any of the moves that will be good against this guy. What about if I use Bale's Tyranny from behind here? Will it cheese him? Please tell me it does. No, it didn't. Okay. What about a... Oh, God, he's come around a pillar. What about a Rolling Magma? Please, if he just stays there for long enough and I didn't manage to land it on the floor. Well, there's that run. But it's fine because that was a learning experience. This time we'll do better. And I've thought up a new plan for this. There's no way I've just been hit in the back. Are you joking? But as I was saying, I've thought up a new plan for this fight because those moves I was using before have a long wind up and end lag and can't be used from range. Therefore, we're starting with the Flame Spit. Try and dodge that one. There we go. There we go. 800 damage, which means we should be able to get this guy down to Malekith's phase pretty easily, as long as I just keep up the cheese. All right, Flame Spit. Let's do it. I know he won't dodge out of the way this time, so we're just going to rinse repeat this strategy until we get to the more favorable fight. All right, fire one at him while he's walking over. That was a good one right there. And then we get off another one. Oh, he's running this time. I've been saved. We've got him down to the second phase. And now we're into the actual fun fight. Okay, let's see how this does. It's seeming like we're just going to have to keep using quick spells that aren't melee if I want to have a good shot at this. Therefore, it's just going to be Rykard's Rancor spam for probably the entire thing. But I'm fine with that. Just got to get a big dodge. There we go. When did I use my Wondrous Physic? Am I being dumb? All right, anyway, but we're doing good here. As long as I just keep this distance up, this fight should go smoothly. So we're just going to use even more Rykard's Rancors. I can't believe that didn't hit me somehow. And now we pop a couple more on him. Although I'm realizing we're running out. We're running out of FP quite fast. Okay, perfect opportunity for Rykard's Rancor. That is actually probably the move I am best at. And now we just run back from here. Pop a couple more of these. So we've ran out of the FP required for Rykard's Rancor. And we've got enough for one Flame Spit. So after he lands from this, we'll fire it off. And he went behind a pillar. But that's fine. Because I trust that I can melee him from this point. Although I shouldn't be using the Fire Spark Bottle because this thing really sucks. Therefore, our main weapon is going to be best here, and I'm very confident with this. But that's fine because we're still doing a decent chunk of his health bar with one hit. Although it's saying 200 damage, but this doesn't look too bad for 200 damage. And now we've just got one more hit to get. After this move, we follow him through, and we got him. There it is. Okay, and now we are in the capital of Ash, and I'm going to do something that you guys may not like. So as you've probably been seeing, after we got past a certain point in this run, our tactics have just been the same, and the spells I've been able to use have been very limited. Therefore, in order to not waste everyone's time, I will be finishing the video after beating Gideon. But before that happens, we're going to be trying out a nice little tactic on Gideon here. We're spamming out a whole load of landmines against this guy because I haven't been able to use this spell at all for the entire time that I've been playing. Plus, it seems pretty cheap, and we've managed to get his flask gone pretty fast. But the main reason we're ending the fight here is because I can really show off all of my abilities against this guy. Starting with Mesmer's Orb. Let's do this. A charged up Mesmer's Orb. What will you do against this Gideon? There we go. More Rolling Magma. He rolled it. What else is there that we haven't been able to use this whole time? Bale's Tyranny. Let's try that next. I just need to get close enough. Okay, and let's do this. While we're up in the air, he can't hit us. 1,400 damage. And now a Rykard's Rancor. While he's stationary, he shouldn't be able to avoid that very well. And we're using our last flask, but he's quite low. So I think we're going to finish this off with our most useful move so far. And my favorite, Flame Spit. And I just about managed to stop him from using Comet Azure with that. And now we just need one more Flame Spit and this guy's gone. And here's our chance. He was busy on the wind-up, and we hit him so hard with that Flame Spit that his phalanx disappeared. And I almost didn't see his death happen. But there we go. That is the end of the video. And it was a much more eventful end than if we were to go on and do the next fights, because they would have just been the same tactic over and over for what is pretty much 3 boss fights. So let's get on to the build. Here are my stats. I'm sure that you can cut out a couple of spells here to save yourself hours and hours of grinding. And then here's our equipment. Fire Spark Perfume bottles, although these were useless, so... Oh my god. How did I not realize this whole time that I hadn't upgraded my perfume bottles? Bastard Stars, Staff of the Great Beyond, 1-8 Shield, High Page Cloves Altered, Elden Lord Greaves, Braven Mass Talisman, Talisman of the Dread, Godfrey Icon, and Perfumer's Talisman. And for the Wondrous Physic, the Intelligence Not Crystal tier and Cerulean Hidden tier. But just before we end, I do want to try out the damage I should have had on these perfume bottles the entire time. So I've come back to the Leyendale soldier that I was bullying at the start of this video, and it's time to find out. We got 300 damage here. I'll be honest, even with this thing upgraded to the max, it doesn't seem like it's that great of a weapon, because if I just pop an Ash of War on this, it does way more than the bottles. But anyway, that is the end of the video. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry I didn't beat the game, but that would have just been boring. See ya.